Morning, Wendy. Do you know I like to smack my bum as hard as I can? Ooh, ow, ooh, ow, ooh, ow.
Bluey is a recent cultural phenomenon that's broken out of its intended audience and reached new heights in the online space. Although it's been around since late 2018, it's garnered more success and to be put on Disney Plus and TikTok, I guess. With merchandise, stage plays, and even one of the characters being on the cover of a magazine, I wonder if Bluey would ever have its own convention, like BronyCon. Well, obviously it'd be called BluyCon, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Hello, I'm Daft Pina, and let's dive into two shows that adults love, but are meant for children asking their parents to stop watching TV without them. Created by Joe Brum, this idea was conceived back in 2017, as he wanted to create a show that both parents and kids can enjoy. For adults, it's more so parental humor of how they raise kids in their day-to-day life, but also dirty jokes like the dad bandits getting neutered.
I'm keen to get it done, but Chili, she wants to keep her options open, but I don't know. Do we want any more of these things running around? Hey!
Looking towards another contemporary show, Peppa Pig, an article from The Guardian compared the two dads. It said Bandit is more emotionally intelligent than, say, Peppa Pig's hapless dad. Can't recover from that one. That pig's fried, though no matter what the child watches, they will develop accents from the show's respective countries. British English for Peppa Pig, and Australian English for Bluey. Personally, I'd go with the latter, mainly because America escaped Britain's clutches, and Australia had the same idea. Wait a second, they still recognize the monarchy? Well, I could forgive them, since they created sausage sizzles. Sausage sizzle. Alright, thank you, Google. And fairy bread. It's kind of like if Texas got its own country of how much they like to barbecue. Going back to Bluey, the show follows its titular character, well, Bluey, her sister Bingo, the dad bandit, and the mom Chili. It's the nice slice of life and the slicey of life one can slice. It's about a family doing family things. This isn't like a standard educational show where they have to spell out the message they learned. Speaking of, edutainment is a nasty phrase when it comes to children's media, as it takes a lot of research and if it doesn't work, you get a lot of dumb babies. Bluey, however, focuses on the idea of imaginative play. Rather than remembering equations, one can find enjoyments in playing in puddles, and going out on a walk to get some ice cream. It's a nice relaxing show that I can't escape. Even when watching Abbott Elementary, Gregory has to deal with a kid in his class obsessed with the show.
I love bingo!
This isn't the first time Micah has disrupted my class. From what I understand, he's obsessed with a TV show about Australian dogs. Bluish.
Bluey has a great appreciation for the country it's set in. Country and continent, with building and landscaping designs inspired by Brisbane. This is akin to King of the Hill being set in Texas, though its city Arlen is more so a vague approximation of cities around North Texas. As for Peppa Pig, call it a hunch, but I don't think Britain looks like this, mainly because the sun is visible. I was engrossed in Bluey because it was shown to me by my friend That Creepy Reading. He found fondness in the show as Agretsuko is winding down with its final season, though that show is for mature audiences, and I don't think kids should be watching it. But in saying that, there are two banned Bluey episodes I would love to talk about one day. One involving childbirth.
The doctor said there was nothing to worry about.
Some babies just roll before they crawl.
The show's growing adult fan base, I've seen Bluey LCs, as well as a very active Reddit page of over 86,000 people, and over 500 active right now at the time of writing and filming. And this subreddit is quite nice, as it has a lot of parents showing off their kids' works, people drawing chalk on the ground, or even a metal cover of the intro. Some are even wanting to travel to Australia because of the show. You know, I never expected an animated show to boost tourism like this. Well, maybe except for Hazbin Hotel. But others show tattoos they got, and upon seeing this level of dedication, I started to think about MLP. Now, MLP is a lot of things, it spans over 42 years, but I'm focusing on the 2010s incarnation developed by Lauren Faust. Personally, I never really got into the show, because I'm not really into horse things. That's a very odd phrase, but, no. Stand by it. BoJack Horseman and Centaur World of course being outliers. The former is a two-legged alcoholic, and the latter has centaurs, so that's only half a horse. Much in the case of Bluey, MLP has an adult fan base, though unlike the latter, it's less seen from the parrot side, and more so from random, usually single people online. The fan base overall is weird, though I suppose what one isn't. I mean, even the Bluey fan base has been making these weird masks, but please don't wear these in front of kids. I'll scar them for life. Do it in front of their parents instead. With the success of MLP being so massive, it got its own dedicated convention. While there were some small meetups here and there, the main one, BronyCon, would arrive at the scene only a year after the show was released. The term brony refers to the male enjoyers of the series and was coined by 4chan less than a week after the show's release. Pega Sister is also a term used in the fandom to describe adult women, but people focus more on the bronies. The oddness from the fandom stems from the fact that these hand-drawn animated creatures are on all four legs. This is of note that when people draw, well, fan art of the characters, they sometimes retain the more animal-like anatomy. It's pretty gross. The closest I've been around this fandom was picking up my friend That Creepy Reading from his hotel. The place he was staying at had a brony convention, and I had to walk through the back halls to reach him. But it is of note, it did smell like Funyuns and BO. Perhaps MLP should have an episode about proper hygiene. Or maybe it did, but I'm not looking that up for fear of the FBI watching my Google searches. Which leads us into today's sponsor and a set mic change. Thanks to Google and now being ChatGPT, anyone can find anything on the internet, including your personal details. Details so personal, even your best mate would never know them, but search engines do. Information like your full legal name, your personal email, your home address, phone number, and even your relatives are accessible because of data brokers. These are the people selling your info to those annoying robocallers, telemarketers, spammers, and maybe even your worst enemy. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura will identify data brokers that are exposing your information and automatically submit opt-out requests on your behalf. They'll even opt you out of junk mail and telemarketing lists. Aura also monitors your emails and passwords to see if they're involved in a data breach and exposed on the dark web. But don't worry, they give recommendations of what to do, and it's very useful to know. Let me tell you. Aura's app also features a VPN, password manager, real-time credits and identity theft monitoring, internet parental controls, and protects your devices from malware. Aura has almost every internet safety tool you'll ever need, all inside one app. It's very convenient to say the least. But thanks to companies like Aura, it's never been easier to browse the web securely and stress-free. You can use my link aura.com/dappina to try 2 weeks to see how many data brokers are sharing your information. This is also linked to my description where you can scan the QR code. For me, it's like way easier to use the QR code on the screen right now because it's like right there. Thanks. While MLP concluded in 2019, a reboot called Make Your Mark released in 2022, as well as a series of shorts called Tell Your Tale. However, unlike the original series, the new ones are released on Netflix and YouTube. The former being an issue, if you're into the show. To say it's lacking in episodes is a severe understatement. As for YouTube, the show is very short, like very short. With less to talk about and less to discuss, the fan base isn't what it used to be. And the last BronyCon occurred in 2019, with the final season of the show. And will we see another one? Unless they start churning out more episodes, then I really don't think so. But you can always support local conventions, and with that, this leads me into the idea of whether or not Bluey will ever have this level of fandom success. It won't. And the biggest reason is lore. While both shows are aimed at kids, or TVY7, and have lessons about friendship, they are polar opposites in terms of story. MLP is 22 minutes in length and has a fantasy setting, while Bluey is about 7 minutes in length and resides mainly in the house.
Are you ready, Bob?
Even something as slice of life and big as The Simpsons never had a convention dedicated to itself. Does that count as slice of life? Yeah, so for Bluey, it would be a hard sell. The convention is many things if show artists and voice actors flying down, panels being had, and even an artist gallery to sell your works. That's quite a lot to fill with one property. The biggest void would be panels. With lore-based shows, there's a lot to discuss and theorize, especially with an average of 26 episode seasons at 22 minutes a pop. Needless to say, there's a lot to work with. And it could be easier to get attached to the characters and know how to write them. This leads to more fan works and writers depicting their own stories of the characters. This also being in a fantasy setting, there's a lot more props and cosplay opportunities. It gives the average person a lot to explore at the yearly convention. Waiting for sneak peeks of seasons is more hype when there's a cliffhanger waiting to be resolved, or a movie or holiday special ready to announce. While Bluey has a big active fan base of handmade commissions, musical covers, and even cosplay, the core concept doesn't have much to work with that can warrant an entire hotel or lecture room dedicated to it. With the lore just being, what if Australia was dogs, it's a bit finite to discuss. This isn't to say the show is lacking in anything, rather if those transitioning from MLP to Bluey, one shouldn't expect gatherings like before, nor in-depth discussions about why Socks walked on all fours in the first season, then only 2 in the next season. The world will never know. Closest thing I could see to a convention would be a traveling festival, akin to what Adult Swim does. But since the home country of this is Australia, they'll most likely focus on that country first and foremost. To have a traveling show can be fun, as it would be a small thing, most likely accompanied by Bluey's big play. Though much like Chuck E. Cheese, they really don't like it if you're there without your kids. But in saying that, Bluey did get its own Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade float in 2022. The show could reignite the Aussie invasion in America that started in the 80s, except this time for animation. Notable modern Australian animated cartoons include Yellow Crystal Fantasy, Walla Man, and Bluey, with more surely to come. Though no matter what, it's always nice to see people appreciating foreign animation. As for Bluey, this might be Australia's version of Spy X Family, a show I'm sure that inspired some to have families of their own. I can't imagine sometime in the future someone telling their kid the main reason they had them was because they watched a funny 2D dancing dog on screen. The kid would be very confused because they're about to ship off to World War V, because in a weird turn of events, Australia took over the world thanks to Bluey. Who would have guessed that? Bluey! So in saying all this, does Bluey really need a convention? not really. The fanbase enjoys it just fine without it, and saying that, there's no pressure to get into heated debates on lore, or how they ruined a character for recent season's arc. In the end, you don't need lore discussion, conventions, or even a lot of episodes to appreciate a show. Sometimes, all you have to do is sit down, turn on the TV, and appreciate time I have for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and join my Patreon. Don't forget to keep on drawing, and please, don't forget to have fantastic.